Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome back to the GNC Family Farms. As we say around here, what happens on the farm stays on the farm. But now today, we're going to let it all out. Well, happy September the 3rd. Wow, can't believe it's already September, right? The last 2 days have been a very busy and very productive day here on the farm. I did some reorganization in the back of the barn. I took down the wall that was back there. Before you go into the back of the barn, there were two sides that come out from the barn. I took this side down, I think it was before summer even got started. And I've been wanting to take down the other side, but first I had to find a place to put the barrels that we had. So I finally got the barrels moved, and then I cut off that other part, which it was pretty much rotted anyway, so I got rid of it. And now when you drive to the back, you literally have a nice open, wide area to drive through. So that got done on Monday, and then I did a bunch of stuff inside the back of the barn, reorganization, stacked up lumber good lumber that I didn't want to be outside in the weather. There's also doors back there, just a bunch of stuff that never know what I might need. But yeah, I got all that taken care of on Monday, and then yesterday on this side of the barn, there was just like a wooden shed they had made to keep like shovels and rakes and all that kind of stuff. Well, it really wasn't getting utilized. It was mostly spider infested. It was bee infested. It was there was a bunch of stuff in there that just needed to be taken and organized. So basically, I got everything out of there. Took down the walls and got rid of that whole thing. Now, when you walk around the back here, it's now wide and open. Looks really nice. It was an all-day chore. I will tell you that much. It was a very long and productive day yesterday. I also finished cutting the rest of the skids for the fencing. I started doing it. I thought, well, I'll get all that fenced in finally. Well, because we've had all this dry weather, the ground is so hard back there, and it's supposed to be getting rain today, but it doesn't look like it. I don't know if we're gonna get rain or not. It's only like a 20% chance anyway. So I think what I'll have to do is I'll have to run some water and just let it run the rest of that length right there to get all that wet and really saturated really good, and then I can put down the post to hold the skid in place. So anyways, I did that yesterday. It was a very busy day yesterday. Took out stuff that needed to be done. There's a few things that I'm gonna make. You've probably seen, when you go to Cracker Barrel or antique shops, and so they take rakes and stuff like that. Well, there's some old antique stuff back there that can't be used anyway, so I thought, well, I'm gonna sand that down and repaint it, and that way it'll look really nice, and probably hang it somewhere on the front porch somewhere. So yeah, that was yesterday's list and things to be done. Last video you saw, hi there. You made it in the barn, huh? Hang on a second. Oh. Well, anyways, Sunday night, I think it was, no, was it Sunday? Was it Sunday? I'm trying to think. I know it wasn't, maybe it was Monday. Yeah, because Monday was Labor Day. Yeah, okay. So Monday, we decided to take the cats and let them loose, just because they were meowing so bad on Monday. Yeah, it was Monday. I do know that now, because I remember the neighbor being home. He actually came down because he heard cats meowing, and he likes cats, and so. But anyways, we took the cats and put them underneath the front porch, and yesterday they started coming out, and now they're everywhere. But the other cats and the other cats are like it. Well, except for Milo. Milo's a male cat. Now, of course, if you know anything about cats, males don't really care about babies. They care less about it. But this little gray and white one you just saw, um, that's Cloudy, and that one there is the more adventurous one. I think it's a he. It might be a she. I can't remember what the wife said it was. I'm trying to look here. Yeah, I think it is a female. Um, but anyways, she's more adventurous one. Um, we took him up there and put him under these front porch because I didn't want him in the barn itself. Because this is where the tractor's at. I'm backing in and stuff. I can't see little cats when they're very little like that. But they seem to be doing good. Really happy. They ate food this morning. They've been drinking water, and we were going to wait till spring because if you watched the last video that I did, I talked about, well, we're going to keep them in there and blah blah. And I cleaned out the side behind the camera here. I cleaned this whole side out. Took the old tractor, took it to the back. My plan is next spring. I'm just gonna suck up the money and get it loaded up in probably run a U-Haul truck, pickup truck, and load it up and take it over to get it looked at and see what needs to be done to it. Because I really would like to have it as a backup tractor. I also would like to have it for trimming around smaller areas because I always had a wonderful experience with it and I loved it. And so I want to get it fixed. So that'll be the project. That'll be definitely done in the spring. But for now, it's in the back of the barn, covered up, and we'll just get it out when it's time next year and get it loaded up and find out what's wrong with it. But anyways, back to the cats. Yeah, we just decided it was just for the best to let them loose and see what happens, and this way they have all September, October, usually November. It's not snowing yet, so they've got a couple months to get their bodies used to the coldness and be used to being outside. And Millie, the other female cat, she's taking after them. She's kind of like their mother. She's taking up the role of that. She kind of watches over them. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on here in the farm. Something I want to talk about. I saw yesterday on today's show they did a special. It was about World War II bomber grandfathers and these relatives of these men. They got to touch this aircraft that was famously known as the Memphis Belle. Gypsy, my lord, her and her allergies. But anyways, they talked about what they went through, as pilots. And Gypsy, go on out there. Go out there. You won't sit here and shake your key or your dog tags and make a bell. I can't talk. But anyways, I was thinking because these men, really were young men. I was thinking what I was doing in my 20s. I wasn't commandeering a plane and flying it over hostile Germany at 20 years old. You think about what these men did, and you wonder why they're called the greatest generation ever. Because these men, boys, young men, is what they were. As a matter of fact, one of the crewmen was actually 18 years old, and he was the youngest. But he, if you think about what they went through. Um, you know, they were shot. This plane was shot up. I think I said 600 times during one bomb run. 600 times that plane was shot up. And I look around to America today and what 20-year-olds are doing to our country. Spray painting "Death to America." Now these are not Palestine people. These are white American kids. Punks is what I call them. You know, because you know, maybe they do have some value or view on what America should be doing, whatever, blah blah blah. But here's 20-year-old men who fought in World War II, flew a plane over hostile Germany to blow up a mission factory. Not only did they barely make it to the bomb run itself, but they made it back from the bomb run, barely alive. 20-year-olds who fought for this country. And then I think back to, you know, my dad, who was a Vietnam vet. And he was only 19 years old when he went to Vietnam. These were kids. Just kids fighting for our country. And today we have the same age of men and women who are spray painting ISIS places. They're screaming "Death to America," burning American flag, waving the enemy's flag in our country, and even waving the ISIS flag. Now, I'm not talking ISIS that the ICE agents who are going and taking out the bad people of America, but I'm talking about ISIS. What has happened? I can tell you what happened. We took out people. We took out groups of people who kept an order and balance in our country. Once they were gone, and I'm talking about America, the Greatest Generation, when they were around, this stuff didn't happen. It wasn't allowed. You know, during the Vietnam War, it was a very confrontational time here in America. You had one side that was known as the Doves, and you had the other side who was Hawks, and they, you know, the Doves, they wanted to, you know, they were anti-America. They were flying the Chinaman flag, you know, or Vietnam flag here in America, where our boys were ever dying, and then in some filthy jungle. And I understand that, you know, we all have different views, and we are all entitled to them views. And some will say, well, this is a freedom of speech. I'm allowed to have freedom of speech. You're right. But there has to be a small understanding what freedom of speech means, okay? When you say "Death to America," well, then you've canceled out that right of freedom of speech, is my opinion, okay? What should be done to these people? Simple. It's easy. It's very easy to what we need to do here. Now, I understand they're U.S. citizens, but here's the thing. Once they cross that boundary and say "Death to America," they're waving the Palestine flag, which is anti-America, by the way, or the ISIS flag, which really is against America. It's really simple. We start taking these men and women and put them over there where they want to be. See how long they live there, how long they survive over there in that country. The women's hair would be butchered and cut, and they would have a burqa put on, and they would be tortured, probably, most likely, because they're Americans. These people that have pink and rainbow colored hair and that kind of stuff, and earrings and all that stuff, and on all orifices of their body, I can tell you what's going to happen to them. They're not going to live long, that's for sure. Because that stuff is not allowed over there. But see, they don't understand that. They think that what they're doing is sticking up for a nation that is being, I don't know, violated. I don't know what you want to call it. You got to understand, the nation of Israel is the only nation over there that stands for God. Okay? So they're in this little bubble. Okay? We'll just say this is Israel. Okay? They're in a little bubble. And all around them, and the Gaza Strip, the Palestinians, and all these other people, everyone around them is against God. They worship a false prophet, Muhammad. Okay, he was a false prophecy. And anyone who says they're peaceful Muslims is a liar. Okay, I'm going to tell you that up front right now. And if you don't know, if you say, oh, now you know what you're talking about. Well, I do know what I'm talking about because I studied the Quran. They always want to point out the peaceful people who say, "Oh, we're peaceful Muslims. We're not. We don't believe in that part." Well, wait a minute. You sound a lot like some Christians. Well, they pick and choose what they want to hear, right? But in reality, is anyone who practices Muslim, they have to read the whole Quran, just like any Christian needs to read the whole Bible. Okay, you can't just pick and choose what you want. Okay. You know, a lot of sinful people say, you know, this is what the Bible really says. Well, no, because you're only picking out part of the verse and using it for your benefit. But if you read down here to this verse, or you read above that verse, this is really what it says. But no, they want to take out that little section and say this is what fits our narrative of our story. You know, we live in a we just live in this backwards nation now. And I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I mean, I have the answer, I think. You know, like I said, start scooping them off the street. Take them and put them over there in that other country. That's where they want to be. I mean, that's why they keep saying death to America. Well, fine. You're no longer a U.S. citizen. Oh, wait a minute. I got freedom of speech. No, you don't have freedom of speech, because guess what? You cancel that freedom of speech when you say death to America, okay? I can guarantee you, if you would have said that back when my grandfather was alive, who was a World War II vet, you would probably get the living crap beat out of you. Now, most of the time he was a teddy bear, but most of the time, if you mess with America, or you messed with the freedom that he fought for, you probably get messed up really bad. Okay, that's all there is to it. And see, when we took away, when the greatest generation started passing away, and that generation started fading away, a new generation rised up, a bunch of wussies and crybabies. You know, I guess that's why I'm proud to say that I'm a Gen Xer, because I don't believe as I grew up in a world that it was the Eye of a Tiger song came on a lot of times. You know, you fought for what you had, and you learned how to live with what you have. And one thing that was always done in our school was the Pledge of Allegiance and the Bible. Amen. And once they took away the Pledge of Allegiance and the Bible out of school, you opened up the door and you let hell into the schoolhouses. We have teachers today who, well, they use sexuality to their favor or whatever. You know, a child is a minor until the age of 18. So anyone who's under that age, and I understand that boys are more mature today than they ever have been. teachers are younger teachers than they ever have been, and so there's a lot of uh, confusion of how close someone should be. Then you have these other groups of people that are in your schoolhouse who are pushing their agenda onto the individual students. Whatever happened to teaching just simply math, reading, and history, and what happened to the basic core? Oh, that's right, we got rid of that good stuff too. Um, so I don't have all the answers, but you know, I have my own opinion, I should say, about way things should be. But I'm getting sick and tired of turning on the news or coming across something about death to America. I hate America. Well, good. If you hate America so bad, then get the heck out. Just like I don't care if you're gay. Okay, I don't care if you're gay. I don't care what color skin you have. Well, I might care if you're pink all the way through, or you're green. Maybe you're alien. I mean, as long as you're peaceful alien or something. But my point is, I don't care who you are, as long as you don't start pushing your agenda onto me. But one thing that I do not go for is someone stating on national TV, "Death to America." I hate America. And now these are not foreigners, okay? These are not uh, Palestine people. These are not the Iraqis. These are not your typical Middle Eastern foreigners. These are your rich, snotty, little nosed punk kids from the suburbs who sit around in their mommy's basement and not having to be accountable for anything. Whatever mommy wants, or whatever Johnny wants, I'll give it to him. You see, now we've raised up a generation of kids who are ungrateful. Yeah, I know I'm laying it on thick here, but it's just my opinion. Mention of craziness. Did you hear about that cheerleader? Yeah, there's a cheerleader who. Now I don't know how the police came to know about it. I'm sure that somehow someone told on her. She was a college student. Okay, she's an adult. She knows better. Well, I guess the police went to her dorm and they knew where to look, and they went into her closet, and in a trash bag was her baby that she had given birth to, and then basically just threw it in a trash bag like second day's trash. And she just basically went on with her life and left that baby in that trash bag. Listen, I'm not for abortion, okay? I believe that if you don't want a child, I don't care if the child is a product of incest, I don't care if it's done because of rape, whatever your situation is, okay? And I know there's some really people out there who will say, well, you don't understand. Listen, carry the baby for nine months, okay? You carry it to full term. That's all you have to do. Give that baby up. Because I'm going to tell you what. That girl made a choice to have sex. Came out of sex because she didn't use protection. He didn't use protection, whatever. Resulted in the pregnancy, okay? Carry the baby to full term. Yeah, you're going to be known as the slut of school, whatever. Or your cheerleading days are over, okay? There is someone out there, a woman who cannot have babies for whatever reason, who would love to have a baby. You decided to take God's chosen greatest gift to humanity, and that was giving us the ability to recreate life, and you took his gift and you threw it in the trash like it was nothing. A trash bag. When you could have gave that greatest gift from God to someone who needs something. A great gift. That's my opinion. Okay? You know, well, some will say, well, you don't understand her circumstances. You maybe don't understand the whole story. I don't care what the story is. What I hear out of that story is simply a young girl, again, probably was given everything in her life because that's the way she wanted it, spoiled her rotten. She decided to lay down one night, or maybe during the day, whatever. Hi, there, little one. Hi, little one. Oh, I know you don't want to be picked up, but you jumped up here. Oh, I know. Hi. But she made a choice. And out of that choices that she made, there's consequences of them choices. And because of that, a baby came about from heaven. But instead of giving it away as an adoption, what did she do? She threw it away. Okay. I gotta go. I got something to do, got places to go, places to see. All right, people. I've talked enough. I've ranted enough, and you know, I saw that story yesterday about the bomber that family getting to see and set into the seats and saw the belly gunner and how, you know, each of these family members, their relative had sat in them seats. And they were barely 20 years old. Could you imagine being 20 years old? Now these guys came home. They bottled all that up. Some of them dealt with this. Some didn't. But they bottled up the war and moved on. And they dealt with their PTSD the best way they knew how. You know, one guy, or one of the ladies there, told how he would get up from the table every time he would hear an airplane flying over and go to the bedroom. He didn't say nothing, he just got up and left the dinner table. It wasn't until years later that he told her why. But, yeah. When I thought about that 20-year-old guy flying a B-17 in a bomb run, wow. The Flying Fortress, as they were known. And only, you know, the success rate of them Flying Fortresses was very little. You knew that flying them bomb runs, your life most likely would be cut short. Half of the planes that took off from a bomb run, about 50 to 65% of them bombers never came home. Some were lucky to survive the crash, spent the remainder of the war in POW camps where they were tortured and so forth. The others didn't come home at all. They just perished and died. Yeah. Think about that. 20-year-olds today are running down our American streets calling death for America. I don't know about you, but I think they all need a wake-up call. I don't know what the answer is. Maybe they need a good butt spanking. You spoil the child, this is what happens. You know, and I believe that's a lot of what we see today. Because a lot of them can't be working because if they have a job, there must be something late at night because when I'm out working, or when most Americans are out working during the day, they're busy tearing down streets and spray paint. But anyways, all right. Well, we thank you for coming along this crazy journey we call life, and we just thank you for each of your support. And as we say around here, peace, love, and joy. comes through knowing our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Excuse me, I had to yawn there. And we will see you on the next video. Love y'all. Have a great week and happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day. See ya.
Keep your pistols loaded, boys, and right there by your side. You never know what's coming, and it could save your life. 'Cause this world, it's getting wicked, and it's full of evil men. And they may come to kill you, but you don't know where or when. Just take me back to sanity, when men were all still men, and we hung the wicked for the lawless shit they did. But now men will dress like women. Hell, this world, it's gone insane. We've lost all of our heroes, and I still miss John Wayne. Now the wolves are in sheep's clothing, and they prey upon the weak. Just like during COVID, they're hurting them like sheep. And I read it in the Bible, so I think the end is near. 'Cause what's wrong is right, and right is wrong. Truth has disappeared. Just take me back to sanity, when men were all still men, and we hung the wicked for the lawless shit they did. But now men will dress like women. Hell, this world, it's gone insane. We've lost all of our heroes, and I still miss John Wayne. Now woke it is the outcry from the victims they create. They alter little boys and girls, but I say mutilate. So take me back to sanity, the men were all still men, and we hung the wicked for the lawless shit they did. But now men will dress like women. Hell, this world, it's gone insane. We've lost all of our heroes, and I still miss John Wayne. We've lost all